Let's make the Oakley Brain Dead Team Flesh ice shoes. So my friend just had these shoes, and since I'm trying to get better at sculpting and specifically shoe sculpting, I thought that would be a great practice. So I took photos from all directions and used them as reference, but I also had the actual shoe right next to me for more direct reference. This time I didn't start by box modeling, but I freehanded it since it had really unique curves to it that I thought would be easier to make by hand sculpting. Then I masked the different sections of the shoe, extracted them, remeshed and extruded them, which worked out great. I'm kind of slowly getting these techniques down, I feel like. By the way, I apologize for using this red material. I feel like it's kind of dark and hard to see. I sometimes forget to start from a lighter material. I just get so excited and start sculpting that I don't notice it. But I'll be changing it to a light gray in a minute. The Z-remesher is a God-given tool. It really works amazing almost always, but sometimes in these more sophisticated and non-symmetrical shapes, it can take me a while to get the right poly flow. Using the Z-remesher guide curves and polygroups really helps, and sometimes even just slightly smoothing some polys forces Z-remesher to recalculate the remeshing in a better way. It can take several attempts, and I might not end up with a perfect topology, but it absolutely beats spending hours retopologizing manually, especially when it's not a character or a model I'm going to deform. The sole was probably the toughest thing to get right. The way it's curving in all these different ways and has these separated pieces on each bump. I don't know, it might seem obvious to an experienced sculptor, but this really put my skills to the test. Definitely could have made it better, but I felt like it was good enough. The way I did it was to mask out the bumpy parts and extrude them, and then kind of manually sculpt around them. But I don't know, maybe next time I'll use a boolean to cut the shapes out of the sole so they kind of fit perfectly there. I don't know, probably a ton of different ways to achieve this. My new favorite technique is masking out edges and inflating. So powerful and precise compared to how I would do it before, which would be just manually brushing the edges. Also, Polish by Features, just an amazing tool. I still need to get better at using these techniques, but I definitely feel more in control compared to previously. If you like this content and want to support the channel, feel free to check out my Patreon or membership, where you can find these project files for free, watch these videos with no ads, get free products from the store, as well as other cool perks, but mostly help me make more and better content for y'all. Also, you can buy this model as well as other material and model packs on my new plastic gumroad, and also prints and pins I made on the pink eye gumroad. And I totally understand that not everyone can support that way, but even subscribing and liking the video helps the channel, or giving me a follow on Instagram at Ojang or the channel at Brand New Plastic. And if you want to help build a community, share your work, or just fuck around, join our Discord. I'll leave all the links in the description. Either way, I really appreciate you. Yeah, the sole was giving me the most problems. I wanted to really be able to get these details right, just so I could practice the techniques, but at some point I just felt like I need to move on and be okay with the details not being 100% right, which is also a huge part of nailing the workflow. I'm the type of guy who gets stuck on details, which is great for getting really high quality work, but it's also a huge trap because you can easily waste so much valuable time on stuff that literally only you notice. And that's objectively bad for your workflow. Knowing when to move on, I feel like, is one of the differences between a beginner and a pro. You shouldn't neglect the details, obviously, but I'm a true believer in the idea that as an artist, quantity is just as important as quality. Spending 10 days on 5 different projects will teach you much more, make you improve, and make you produce better work overall than spending 10 days on a single project. Not only that, out of those 5 projects, you would probably have more than one, if not actually all 5 projects, ending up as high quality projects. So in that sense, quantity actually increases your quality. I'm saying this because I feel like a lot of artists, including my younger self, and even me now, get caught in this trap of quality over quantity. It's this mental trap of this singular project will be my greatest achievement, which is a romantic idea, but it's just not how it works in real life, especially today where everything has already been made, and coming up with a great idea doesn't really come from a cognitive understanding of your work, but more of a statistical mutation of your work. And that mutation can only come from focusing on making more stuff rather than a better thing. Anyway, just my 2 cents. Cue back the music. And after sculpting some details, creating that heel pull tab in Cinema 4D, because I'm just so much more comfortable making simple stuff like that there, and UV unwrapping everything in Cinema, I went on to Substance Painter and started texturing. I could have just used my amazing procedural fabrics materials you can find on my Gumroad, but since at the moment these materials are only available for Octane, I felt like making everything inside Substance would appeal to a wider audience, especially since this model will be available for sale, and I want the textures to be usable with any engine. And also it helps me practice, using Substance Painter. I just used some basic fabric materials and added more layers of height noises and color variations to break them up a bit more. One thing I just can't wrap my head around is how to UV unwrap organic shapes like these. and still have the UVs follow all the curved topology. Like in this top piece, I just couldn't get the straight lines of the weave pattern to follow along the curves. I think in these type of cases, retopologizing manually is actually the only way to go, since I can really form rectangular shapes that can be curved in 3D but have straight lines in the UV map. This pool tab kept distorting the textures. I ended up adding more polygons to the model, which really helped. Sometimes if your model is extremely low poly and you're trying to add really dense displacement, Substance will mess it up when calculating all the subdivisions. Then I went back to Zbrush and fixed that heel part. It's not as slanted in the actual shoe, so I just pushed everything in a bit to make it go more straight down. There are a few more overall shape issues that I only noticed when I was done with everything, but as I said, I prefer just starting a new project rather than going back in and spending hours fixing it when it's not a crazy big deal. Then I added the stitches. The first one came out white and the others I tried more of a gray look, but in the final render I ended up making all of them brighter so they stick out a bit more against the background. Then all there was left was the lighting. I wanted to only use area lights with more focused IES distributions and really sculpt the lighting to really get a precise and dramatic effect that not only allowed me to make it look more epic, but also to hide some of the issues in the model with the dark shadows. Then I used the light mixer node for even more precise dialing of the lighting, and this is the final results. I think it came out beautiful, even though, as I said, there are some significant issues with some details and also with some parts of the overall shape, but I'm happy with it, learned a lot from it. If you want to buy this model, you can find it on my Gumroad store. There are prints and pins I made on the other Gumroad store, links in the description, or you can get this project for free as a patron, so consider supporting on Patreon or membership, because I probably wouldn't have been able to dedicate all my time to making these videos without all my beautiful patrons and members, so shout out to their families. I love you, have a great day, peace.